Hello, it's Angie from UK Money Wisdom. Today we're starting a new series designed to do one thing, and that's to give you calm, clear confidence about how your pension and savings are taxed. This isn't about turning you into an accountant or a tax specialist. It's about helping you recognise when something looks about right, or something doesn't quite add up, or something needs a closer look. Because when you get a tax code change or a brown envelope through the door, it's much less frightening if you already understand the basics. Because from the comments, it shows that there are many pensioners who are confused by the way the government presents tax issues that make it seem very complicated. Let's understand that right now, a few things are happening at once. The personal allowance is frozen until 2028 at the moment. The state pension has been rising, and interest rates have been higher than we were used to. Put those together, and more pensioners are drifting into tax, sometimes because of fairly small amounts of extra income. And the hardest part? Most people aren't told why. No one sits down or advertises and explains how the calculation actually works. So, in this series, we're going to do the opposite. Slow things down, explain the rules in plain English, and show you step-by-step examples. We're going to look at the 3 core ideas that unlock everything, because these 3 ideas will come up again and again. And once you have them, the whole system feels less mysterious. So, core idea 1, HMRC use a fixed order for your income. When HMRC work out your tax, they don't shuffle things randomly. They broadly look at your income in this order. Number 1, state pension. Number 2, private and workplace pensions. Next, number 3 comes other taxable income, like earnings, rental income, and some overseas income. And lastly, 4, they look at savings interest. Only after that do they apply the various allowances. So if you imagine your income stacking up in that order, you can start to see what's likely to be covered by your personal allowance and what might be left over to be taxed. Now let's understand core idea 2. The allowances work together. The main ones pensioners hear about are the personal allowance, currently £12,570 for most people. The starting rate for savings, which is up to £5,000 at 0% in some cases. And lastly, the personal savings allowance, often up to £1,000 tax-free interest for basic rate taxpayers. Now, these don't sit in 3 neat boxes. They interact with each other, especially depending on how high your pension and other non-savings income are. In later videos, I'll show you exactly how that interaction looks on real numbers, so you can see how much interest you can receive before any tax becomes due. And core idea 3, as non-savings income rises, your savings buffer can shrink. We need to understand that. This is one of the big traps, and that's the starting rate for savings. As your pension and other non-savings income moves above the personal allowance, that £5,000 starting rate band doesn't stay the same. It gradually reduces and can eventually disappear. That's why some people suddenly find that interest, which used to be fully covered, is now partly taxable. You don't need to memorise all the thresholds today. The important thing is just to know that small increases in your pension or other income can change how much of your interest is tax-free. As always, I'll give you a downloadable PDF to explain all of this in the description below, and that's free. And of course, we'll unpack the numbers again gently in later episodes. Let me explain what this series will actually give you, because I know this can feel overwhelming at first. So the way we're going to tackle it is, I'll give you 3 or 4 real examples per video. These will be everyday situations, not on the edge cases, that I've picked up from your questions so far. They'll be spoken slowly with the numbers kept simple, and there'll be a clear PDF summary in the description below each video for you to download free of charge. The examples will include situations like state pensions with a small private pension, state pension plus savings interest, still working 1 day a week in retirement, taking money from a personal pension pot, perhaps renting out a room in your home, or having a small overseas pension on top. You'll see how the income stacks up in that fixed order, where the allowances fit, and when the tax does and doesn't appear. And these are typical scenarios you'll recognise. In the comments, you can show simple titles like State Pension Only, Am I Safe from Tax? State Pension plus Small Private Pension, Why is HMRC taking so much? State Pension plus Savings Interest, Do I pay tax or not? State Pension plus renting a room, How does HMRC treat that? 2 small pensions plus savings, Why did I get a tax bill? Delaying state pension, Does it change my tax? And next, working 1 day a week, Does it trigger tax? And taking money from a pension pot, Will it push me into tax? There are plenty more scenarios that you might want to include. These ones aren't dramatic cases. They are the quiet everyday situations faced by millions of people. And that's exactly where this series is mainly aimed. But do feel free to ask any questions, and I will do my best to answer all questions, subject to my disclaimer. And I'll include one special on the edge question in many of my videos. And if you do want to send your own specific detailed on the edge scenarios for me to work through a situation similar to yours in depth in a future video, you're very welcome to leave that in the comments as well. You don't need to give personal details. Just share the basics, such as your type of pensions or pensions, roughly amount of savings interest, and whether there's anything extra like rental income or an overseas pension. And as I say, I do choose a few questions each week and change any identifying details and turn them into clear, calm examples that we can go through together. And that way we'll learn together. Because as I always say, Knowledge is our power, and that's very important in this day and age. Let me give you a bit of reassurance, because let me say to you, by the end of this series, my aim is that you'll be able to look at your pension, savings and other income and understand broadly how HMRC are layering it, how to spot when something looks obviously wrong, and to feel confident enough to ask questions when you need to. Not to scare you, it's not to overload you, but to give you quiet, steady control over your own finances. The best next step is simple. Watch the first example video in this series, where we take the 3 very common pensioner situations, and I'll add one out of the ordinary one, and walk you through them slowly, step by step, and in as much detail as I feel is necessary. If you still don't understand it at the end of that, do come back in the comments. Thank you so much for watching and for being part of this community. We're going to win this battle against complicated rules, HMRC rules. We're going to do it together, and we're going to make this fun. Let's get started. Okay, bye for now. Have a good week, and I'll see you very soon. This is Angie, and this is UK Money Wisdom.